microphone.
Okay. All right.
Do you think I am okay like that, or do you want another position?
No, you're fine. You're
Okay.
Fine. You come
Okay.
to
Okay. First, I'm gonna tell you my story since Africa. Then you ask the questions you want to ask me.
Well, I just want to hear. I want to hear it from you, basically.
Okay. Basic.
You know.
Okay. I was born in Angola. My parents were Portuguese, so then I went there, and I was born there. And I make most part of my studies there. I begin the university there, but in the second year, because I am a veterinary, in the second year there was a discipline that I had to do, and I didn't make it. So then I offer as a volunteer to the Portuguese Army. You know, because when you are young, you have the ideals, and in your head, you have 19 years old. Okay, so then I went to the army as a volunteer with 19 years old. But before that, since the 15 years old, I was a member in the clandestinity from the MPLA. So the party that it's ruling now the government in Angola. Since the grammar school, the elementary school, you know, because the most part of the people, they were white. So there were a few Negroes, sons from families assimilated for the colonialism and so on. And exactly those who came to Portugal to study and become later the leaders, you know, because they have instruction and they study here in the Portuguese university. So I was inside that movement, working as a clandestine, you know, in the clandestinity, giving papers to the people, going house to house, a section of telling them what is the kind of the movement is, in sense what we want, the independence, this and that and that and that. Okay, when I went into the army, then after 3 months of basic instruction, they chose me to go to the special forces that we call the commandos. Okay, so I made another 6 months there for that specialized force. Then, as I could speak some language at that time already, like English, French, German, Spanish, Italian, because since I was young, my father put me in those schools, the American school, the French, the Alliance Française, and then I begin since I was young. So they recruit me in the army for the information service. And during that time, I was working with a general and a brigadier that later on in 1981 they formed the actually Portuguese intelligence service, CIS. That was General Pedro Cardoso and the General Renato Marques Pinto. So, and that time there was an American agency, the Interpress, that was there in Angola working with another organism called CITA. CITA means Center of Information and Tourism of Angola. But that's not really that. Doesn't mean that. That's what to infiltrate people to know with the police, you know, PID.
There was a front group.
Yes. Well,
Proprietary.
yes, exactly. So they recruit me for the Interpress, and I start making contacts with the South African Army, the Intelligence Army Service. That time they call it BOSS, you know.
Yes.
Then they stop it and they divided into parts, like the Mossad and the Shin Bet. They call it NIS and they call it DONS. NIS was the National International Security Service. DONS was the Domestic Operational National Security. One was inside South Africa, the other was outside, like the MI5 and the MI6, you know. And they have the antennas in London here and so on, because they was fighting against SWAPO and the ANC. Okay, and they kill people in London, here and that. Okay, so I established.
I know Boss would send people sweaters, and when they put
Yeah, they did it
Go blind.
a long time ago. A long time. This is what they said about Americans with the waterboarding and so on. They did it a long time ago there. They did it there. Then I established contacts with some members from the Secret Service, boss, and I become friend of some. Okay. And I start working with the Ginter Press because in the American embassy, that was not the American embassy, was the consulate in Angola, because the American embassy was here in Portugal. They have a really task force from the CIA there working, because the American oil companies, they were already in Angola, and they have to defend their interests there.
Right.
At the same time, those churches, the Baptist church, the Methodists, the Mormons, they were already in Angola working in the clandestinity, giving instruction, learning things about the geopolitics, the real politics, and from those missions come to some of the leaders from the other movements, FNLA and Savimbi and others like that. Because really America, as one day a singer told me when we were talking about that, about the real politics, the American real politics, I told him, was more guys, was he in Paris, and I said, why the Americans, they never have friends around the world? And he just told me that we don't have friends, we have interests, business, just that. And I looked to him, okay. So, and that explains a little bit the American policy around the world. That's like that, because one day they are friends from Gaddafi, the other day they put him down. The other day they are friends from Saddam Hussein, the other day they put him down.
Right.
That's the real politics, you know,
Absolutely.
unfortunately.
Right.
Okay, so that's like the movie the other guy wanted to do. We are going to invade who now? Okay, it's more or less like that, you know. So, and I start working with those people there. Then came the 25th of April. I was supposed to keep going on the army, okay, and I was supposed in 1974 come to Portugal for the military academy to graduate as a captain, to go again there to command the company. Then I was blessed in our operation, a big operation against the MPLA in the east, and I was evacuated to South Africa because I was paralyzed from here to there, you know. You can see my eye here, I have this bigger than the other one, here, and I have 2 discs here. So, and they told me that I would never walk again. And I said, oh my God. But they were real good in South Africa, the doctors, the physiotherapists, the nurse and so on. And after 1 year, with so many efforts, and myself, they put me a kind of things on the legs, and I start walking, and I make a therapy from speaking, because I couldn't speak well those days. And then after I came back. I never went to the bush again, but I keep working in the intelligence service. Okay, so I was supposed, as I told you before, to come to Portugal to the military academy, but meanwhile the 25th of April came. Okay. So they mobilize everybody, and then I stay there because my parents has a house there, and I didn't want they occupied the house. So I stayed there, and my father make a donation for the house coming to my name for me. But the MPLA, they don't have enough people to fight against the other movements. So they form a kind of a battalion with people from the special forces, white, black, mixed people, but they were born there in Africa. We were more or less 600 men, okay, to give instruction to the others. In meantime, the FNLA contract 100 mercenaries, English, Greeks, Argentinian, and they enter from north, and they go village by village, and they kill everybody. They steal diamonds. They do a kind of atrocities. So we went there to catch them. We catch them. There was a big trial in 1977, an international trial. Some three were sentenced to death. The others, they gave them 16, 20 years. But after 6-7 years, they threw them out. Okay, so I stayed more 2.5 years there, but always working with the intelligence service there, because they knew my capacities. So then I came back to Portugal, because I said I want to finish my degree of veterinary. And they said, oh, you won't come back again. Yeah, I should come back. I have my house here, I have my things here. And every year I went there to spend 2 months. Then I finished my graduation in veterinary here. And then one day I received a call from a guy from South Africa that worked with South African intelligence service, Gary Van Dyke. Gary Van Dyke was a colonel and was during a long time the antenna E in London. And he invited me to go to London. And then I went there, and he said, oh, tonight we have a dinner with many friends from different countries. Okay. We went to a dinner in the Grosvenor Hotel near Victoria Station.
Yeah, I know that.
Yeah, okay. So there is the Apollo Theatre and so on there. So, and in this meeting, you could find guys from all the intelligence services around the world, even Russians, you know. So he introduced me to this, to that one. And there was a guy there, there was William Hasselberg, there was the antenna here from the CIA, that we call him Billy. So,
he lives in Virginia now.
yeah, and he's dating with a Portuguese woman here. You know, it's
Famous actress or something.
yeah, no. She is the father. The father was the strongest man during the colonialism in Mozambique. He has a private army, you know, was the engineer George Jardim that worked with the South African army. So they are 8 or 9 sisters and 1 brother. That's a very strange family. She knows that he is still married in the United States, but when he comes to Portugal, she's with him. She appears in the magazines, in those color magazines. Socialite magazines, you know. Well, it's something they don't understand. Well, I understand, because later on I knew better Billy. He was a guy that loves the night, women, and drinking, and so he was a playboy, you know. So, and this guy, when I came back to Portugal, he introduced me to that was here 3 months, was just arrived 3 months, Frank Alucci. Then I went to the American embassy, and they said, this man was this and that and that. He gave almost my curriculum vitae, you know. So Carlucci said, okay, you are going to work with us from now on. And I said, but I am still studying to finish my course. No problem, you work.
He was the ambassador.
He was the ambassador. But he always belonged to CIA, since from the beginning. Since 1961, he was involved in the death of Patrice Lumumba, with the MI6, with the French DGS, that time, since a long time. But he was a very clever guy, you know. He was coming from an Italian family. He was a short guy, but very low profile, you know, but very smart, very intelligent guy, you know. Because I had, during many years, I was with him here, and then later in the United States. So then I finished my degree, and I started work. I went to the United States. And
so you were a veterinarian?
Yes, I am a veterinarian. I worked 12 years, but, you know, part-time, you know, like a camouflage, you know, because the time I was really working for them. Then I went to the United States. I went to Langley, and I stayed 6 months there, 3 in Langley and 3 in Quantico. Okay, training guns, telling me, teaching me intelligence, terrorism, counter-terrorism, information, and then I started working for the clandestine service. Now, I had the code name. My code name was Simon Fox, because my grandfather was Jewish, was Shimon. Okay, so they have to convert to here in Portugal. But I still remember my grandfather on Saturdays he put the kippah and things like that. And my father too. If you look to a picture too, my father, you immediately look at him and said, "He's a Jewish." Okay, he's a Marrano, like they say here,
right,
coming from the Sephardic side.
Sephardi.
Yeah, okay. Because my brother-in-law is Jewish too, but he is Ashkenaz because parents came from Poland. He is Josef Steinberg. He is a good friend of mine, a close friend of mine. He is living in Brazil. He is a translator for the American Embassy. He worked for Mossad during a long time. He is teaching in the university. My nephew was in Israel in the army, Moshe Steinberg. The other one, Tafat, was in Israel too. So we have a very close friendships. Right. And I met during my life, I met so many people from Mossad. They are friends. The antenna here from Mossad during many years was David Katz. He was a good friend of mine. When he went to Israel or when he went outside, he let the car from embassy that was destined to me. Once I was driving the car, this is a joke, I was driving the car and the Portuguese police stopped me in a big avenue here. And they come with the guns. I said, motherfucker, they are crazy. What? Oh, get out. I said, oh, what's happened? What car is this? So what? What's the problem? Oh no, this car belongs to the Israel embassy. So what? The owner of this car is a good friend of mine. The papers are here. If you have any doubts, call the embassy and they let me go. But they was looking because I was living almost 2 years in the Hotel Sheraton when I came from the United States, because those days there was no house to rent, to sell. Was a very conturbated period here, you know. So I was 2 years. If you go to the Sheraton, I still have my register there. Those times they have a key with a big square metals with an S, Sheraton, you know, in the big key. You know, now they have cards, but and I keep that key. Okay. Then when I went to Brazil working, I met my wife, my actual wife. Then I bring her to Portugal. She went to live with me to Sheraton because I had a suite there. And my daughter was made there in Sheraton in 1977 because she was born in 1978 February. And then later on, my son is now in Brazil. He is the commander of the federal police squad, the special squad from the federal police. He is a lawyer. You know, he is in Brazil. Now you want to get out because you want to become a judge. They said, let's stay there, you are better there, don't go to a judge, because there is too much corruption there. Oh, but I want, okay, do what you want. You have 29, I don't have to tell you nothing now. Okay. So then I start working, I came back and I start working, and then I went to different countries around the world. I went to Philippines, I went to Lebanon, I went in Lebanon. I had an operation with an American guy that went with me during that conturbated period of the hostage, you know. There was a CIA guy that was arrested there, you know, and they demand $3 million. Those from now they are from the jihad. Those days they have another name. There was the Christian side and the Arab side. Now they are the Hezbollah. Those days they had another name. This
was in Lebanon?
Yes, in Lebanon.
Right.
Yeah, because they were divided in quarters. Christian. Falange was a Christian. Yeah. No, was the Islamic side that they call today the Hezbollah. Right. So we went to a hotel there, and we made the contacts. I had a satellite phone those days, those big ones with bags, with the parabolic and things like that. And then I called to the guy that was supposed to be the intermediary with that to get the money and bring the other guy. And we were at the hotel and we marked at 1 o'clock. But they didn't arrive. And I said to the other guy, let's eat something and then we come back. We went to it, and when we was coming to the hotel by taxi, we saw the hotel was surrounded with Mercedes and Jeeps with guys with Kalash. And I said to the taxi, keep going, keep going. Okay, we came later, after 3-4 hours, then the other guy staying in the taxi. I went to the hotel and they were really terrified because they said, listen, you must get out because they came here to looking for you and for your friends. So what they want to catch us to become hostages and the money too. So I have to get out from Libya because I use different passports in different times. Sometimes I use my passport, but sometimes I use the fake, but a good one, that pass in any border with other name, with a French name, with a Spanish name, with a Brazilian name. It depends from the operation. Then I was in Nicaragua, I was in El Salvador, I was in Honduras, and sometimes the DEA, needed people from us that could speak language to go for infiltrations. And in 1984, during that war with the cartels in Colombia, there was the cartel from Medellin and the cartel from Cali. So the cartel from Medellin was commanded by Pablo Escobar, and the cartel from Cali was commanded by a famous guy named Carlos Leder Rivas. A big one guy, a big shark, So they want to catch him, the DEA. So they put me and the guy from Puerto Rico trying to establish contact with these people for buying coca. But we were a decoy, we were a decoy. So I came to speak with him and we agree a meeting in Norman Cay. So that day I was there with the other guy and more than 20 guys from DEA. So the guy came in a Learjet, So we went to hotel, and when we was at the hotel discussing the terms for the delivery of 1 ton and the money, the DIA came arrest everybody, including me and the other guy. Then okay, we say parade, and later on, that guy, John Logan, that was in charge of the operation, came and he told, hey, Fernando, we had a problem here. What? So the guy has in the plane $10 million cash. So we want to divide that money and we stay with the plane. And I said, wait a minute. I'm not going to do that because I don't work with you. I just here for one operation. I'm going to doing my report. I'm going to deliver it in Miami to my director, and I don't care about this. And I asked to the Puerto Rico guy, and I'm going to do the same. I don't want to involved with this shit. So when I came back to Miami, I gave my report. I detailed all the operations. So those guys were arrested. A lot of them, some were expelled from the IA, and from that day on, my life was constantly, they menace me, they treat me, they send the cards, they phone, and the CIA put permanently guys for escorting me, my wife, and my son. That's what, when I bought a house in Spain, another house in Holland, Brazil, and then I was in Brazil, in Holland, in Spain. But after 4 years, I was real full, of this because I was constantly looking behind. When I get my car, they have to go with the glass looking there, So they said, it's finished, I want to get out. So Alucci tell me, no, you don't do that because this and that. No. I want to get out. I want to another life. This is too much for my wife, for my daughter, for my son. They can't resist anymore. So then I get out. They give me a special amount, and then they give me every month a kind of a pension. So they never did it. I put them in court, and still today we are fighting for that, because they don't recognize that. They say they don't want. They tell that I was for the clandestine service. They have no registration from my number. I had the card with the number behind. They had everything, a gun and credentials, and I have three credit cards, one American Express, a Diners Club, and a MasterCard. The plafonds those days were $10,000 per month. And when I was doing some jobs in the clandestine service, usually I go with cash money, pocket money, with different currencies, pounds, dollars, marcos, and so on, always preparing for an eventual thing that could happen, So they did now another similar thing. You know that story about Sabrina de Souza?
No.
The CIA Portuguese agent? You don't know. So do you know that story about that extraordinary rendition in Italy, that they kidnap a cleric?
Yeah.
Yes, recently.
Yeah.
So the guy was 27 agents from CIA. They was so clever, or I can't understand that, because they enter in Italy with their own passports. Okay, with the collaboration from the Italian intelligence service, the CISMIL, they catch that guy, they put him in Jordania, he was tortured, but 1 year he was out. So he put his mouth on the trombone, like we used to say. So the Italian government went to check, and the 27 guys have international demands wanted for going to trial. So the United States, as usual, with the plausible denial that we signed, said, no, we have nothing to do with this, we are not that. So the commander from the Secret Service was put out too, because he was inside. And then that agent, that only the only service, the only job that she did was to introduce the American guy to the Italian guys, because she was working at the embassy in Roma. During this kidnap, this rape, she was in Milano. She was not there. Then, after that, they issue an international warrant for her too, and she asked CIA, so what happened? They denied, and later on, she came to Portugal. She said that he don't want to work more for the CIA because they don't want to pay the pension too. He is married with an American guy. He's living here, and last year, he was going to go India, the old Portuguese colony, because she is originary from there, because mother was very sick. But he was living here more than 1 year. So the Portuguese police arrested her. She was 3 days arrested, and now they want to extradite her to Italy in exchange with that Russian guy that was caught with that Portuguese guy from the Portuguese intelligence service, like a coin, like a change. And you can imagine that. She worked for the CIA during 15 years, and they don't care about that. This is in all the papers, in all the magazines there. So then I go out, as I told you, but frequently I talk with Carlucci because I have the number from the house, from the office, because as you probably know, she is CEO from 27 Enterprise. She belongs to the Carlyle Group and other groups. So the last time I was with him was in 2004 in Madrid, because he was going to Turkey, because they have a big mobiliary settlement doing there, and I had lunch with him and with his wife Marcia. Marcia was a secretary in the American embassy. When he separated from his first wife, he married with her. And I used to go to his house playing tennis with him the time he was here. Then he went to the United States. He finished the mission that everybody knew what he was doing here. And then he started, during the Reagan government, working as sub-director from the CIA. Yes. And with Bush, the Bush father. Yeah, so you know. So, and I keep calling with him. And in 1995, those guys from the DEA, somewhere, 3 or 4, I don't remember, were reintegrated again. And they had this in the throat, about me. As they couldn't do nothing against me, what they did, in 1995, I was here in Portugal for holidays. The Portuguese police catch me, they arrest me, and they said that I was inside a drug organization, a big one, and that I was the guy that made the contacts between the guys in Bolivia and in England, France, and so on. So they get 2 Portuguese guys that they had caught here, and one of them went to tribunal, said that he was at my house in Brazil, and that he went to me with Bolivia, that I introduced him people there, friends. He saw tons of coca there, and probably I was inside that. On these words, they convicted me 14 years, You can imagine, I was convicted for 14 years. So then I made...
You were sentenced to 14 years.
Huh?
You were sentenced.
Sentenced for 14 years, but I just stayed 7 years because I have appeals, and then after 7 years I came out. In my declarations, I put the names from the guy from the Portuguese police that I called them corrupted, and now they were arrested 6 months ago. What I said 20 years ago.
What were their names?
Yeah, names are Ricardo Macedo, Sintra, Ferreira Leite, the other guy, Dias Santos, Bem-vindo. They were a lot because they have the infiltrated guys, the war trafficking, right, that they put like provocateur agents, and then they get the merchandise, they give the merchandise to them, then they sell the merchandise and they pay them, This happened more than 20 years. And now, after 20 years, they discovered this net, and they were arrested. Some of them, the other, are under investigation. And every week in the Portuguese paper are coming names that I thought they had time. So this was a trap that they made to me from there, and he keep posting on the Instagram and things like that, things from the ISIS, from the Daesh, and this and that. He's completely crazy, this guy. But nobody cares about him because everybody knows that he don't have any credibility. Because him, I asked to enter the parliament and make the story more color,
I know he's also a seer.
Yeah.
He has this crazy outfit.
Yes, and he said that he know Frank very well, that he was at the airport in the end.
He said he just picked up money from Frank.
Money from
put it in a safe deposit box.
And it's not true. They get the money he get was me, that the Americans gave him in a yacht in Cascais just for that. It was not Frank that gave money. He never met Frank in his life.
He said he went to that island somewhere. You went to some Ireland and picked up the money?
No. You went with me to Cascais, and there is a marina there, and there was a boat there, and there were many guys from CIA, from the embassies, and they give me the money in a bag, and I came out with him, and I give the whole money to him, $200,000. That was the money for he keep the mouth shut, you know. But
Frank gave you guys the money, essentially.
No. Frank don't give me money to me, not to him. No, Frank probably had money. I don't know. Maybe CIA pay him. He never told me.
But where did the money come from?
The money come from when I need money. I went to the embassy. They gave me money, and I have the credit card. We have money.
Where did the money come from to finance Camarate?
The money come directly from the CIA that was given to me here in the embassy for David Hasselberg.
So what was Frank's role in this?
The Frank's role was to establish the contacts in England with the guys, with Gary Van Dyke from the MI5 for the other bomb, to develop it, to be with me, to coordinate all the things with me, because I demand that he was here with me, because he was the only guy that I could trust for such an operation, and me and Frank were the only guys that knew that the Prime Minister was there, the Minister of
the... You recruited Frank?
Yes.
Rather than Frank recruiting?
No. I almost recruited him because I told to the guys that for that operations I want Frank with me. And then they agree, you know. They meet there to council in the United States that Carlucci was there, Kissinger was there, and everybody was there, the many guys. And they said, okay, Frank goes. Frank stays with you. And then Frank came. You know, and in 1982 he was here again with me, you know, because I was inside making an inside job for the Angola government, because the South African people want to invade Angola, and there was some dissidents from the Secret Service from Angola that are in that plot, and the president asked me to infiltrate there. And then I call Frank for doing this inside job with me. The guys from Angola paid him, and then we get two reporters from the Express, Joaquim Vieira and Miguel Sousa Tavares, and they make photos with the all meetings we have with the South African ears, the ambassador, the military attaché, Gary Van Dyke, Frank, and others, and this came.
So Jay is lying about having picked up all that money from Frank.
It's not true. It's the story is all here. It's all here.
One, the story that Frank pushes.
That's not true. That's what was not a commando. I told you the detonator. Frankie was with me in a car outside the airport. Just me and Frank in my car.
So the bomb was mercury switch?
Yes, when they did that.
They were two bombs. How about the one attached to the landing gear?
The other one, we said to Lee Rodrigues to go again there and get it out. Because one day before, we know the plane was the other one, because both plane were already at the airport.
Of course, Estevez says there were two bombs on the plane. His bomb
from Jose and
attached to the landing gear, made from a grenade.
Yes, exactly. That one we don't use it. That was Lee Rodrigues went and got it out, you know. And myself, I sent it to the ocean, you know. I went from a place to.
You know what? I'm interested in Frank Sturgis because. You know, in 1973, somebody showed me some pictures of some tramps who were picked up on the scene of the Kennedy assassination.
Yes, and they told me, but he confirmed me that story to me. He said, once I asked him...
One looked like E. Howard Hunt. The other one looked like Frank Sturgis.
No, he was Frank Sturgis, and I'm going to tell what he told me.
And the third guy was a guy named David Christ.
Yes, I know. I know the entire story. I know the entire story.
Chris was a CIA agent who was going to bug the Chinese Communist
Yes,
Party.
I know that, but the guy
Had an affair with
that
the
real shot was Frank. The guy that real shot was Frank. Fire was shot because in 1986, the last time I saw Frank, or in 1985, I don't remember quite well. 1985, I think. We were in Spain. We went to Almeria, meeting Gordon Goody, the guy from the train robbery. The last guy that is still alive. He has a bar there. The one that was the real brain from the train robbery. And
What's the robbery? Brinks robbery?
Yes, the train robbery in England with Ronald Biggs. You know,
Right.
Gordon Goody was the main brain. He was arrested during 30 years. He was in jail. When he got out, he wanted to live in South Spain, near Almeria. He had a bar there. He is still there alive with 90 years, more or less. And we went to visit him with Gary Van Dyke. And that day, Frank drank a little bit, you know, and he talked and said, and he tell the whole story.
Frank didn't drink.
No, but that time he was drinking.
Right.
Yeah, that time he was drinking. We have dinner, we have grilled fish. I still remember grilled fish, shellfish, and the drink. We smoke a cigar, you know, a Cuban cigar that I used to smoke too. And at 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, Frank began telling the story because Gary Van Dyke okay, tell us now the real story about Ken. And they said, I was like that and this and that. And they said, and he assumed completely that was him. You know, he has told me before in 1982, and before we talk about this, and he was always laughing when I asked him. They said, "Come on, Frank, you have to tell me the truth. One day I will tell you." And I knew that he was involved because Frank, since a long time ago, he worked with the CIA. He was a contractor from CIA. You know,
Yes.
always.
So what was Frank's role in Camarate precisely?
Precisely was like a coordinator with me, joined the all pieces, joined the people here and the people coming from the United States or Liver North and many other guys. We went to Honduras, we went to Costa Rica, we went to Nicaragua all together. We have been in Washington during the 8 years. Later on, I went to the States. I was with him again. You know, he came here again in 1982 during that operation I told you before. And the last time I saw him, he was in 1985 or 86. Then I never heard about him. And the last time I heard about him was when Jim come here with the book and tell me that he has died, you know.
So who initiated the operation?
Frank Carlucci that called me.
Carlucci
Called me to the United States and told me he was not living here anymore.
So you decided to use Frank in the operation?
No. First he talked with me and said, we have a major operation that we're going to need you in Portugal, but you have to get the right guys for that because it's very dangerous and so on and so on. And then he began explaining me, and I said, this is not dangerous, this is too dangerous. This is a prime minister, this is the minister of defense, but we have to do it. Can you do it? So, well, I can do it, but I should get the right people for that. And after this primary conversation, I went to see Frank and I said, listen, they want me to do this. You are interested with me to coordinate all this? If they allowed me, there is no problem. And I came back to Carlucci and I told him. And then he told me that in 24 hours you would tell me. And then they give the agreement, you know. And then from there we start all the steps, you know. From there we start all the steps, me and Frank together. The other guys, they have a very small role, you know.
So what did Frank do to further the conspiracy?
What?
What did he do What steps did he take?
With me, we coordinated we went to England, we went to Paris to talk, to ultimate the last details. Sometimes I said, okay, we're gonna do this. Frank said, no, better not. Let's do it in a different way. Let's do it this, and I agree with him. Sometimes I don't agree with him. I said, no, we can't do that because this is Portugal. We are not in the United States or in another country. We should do like that. We discussed a lot. Then Oliver North came. We discussed with him. Other guys came. We discussed with Dasselberg. And finally, we have a kind of a map for what we should do. And then we go further. We go till the end.
Why a bomb on an airplane?
Sorry?
Why a bomb on an airplane as opposed to other ways of assassinating someone?
Yes, there was, but they want the mainly thing that Carlucci told me, that this should be made like an accident, to appear like an accident.
Right.
Because there are so many ways to do it. Because I myself, if I can do bombs, I can make them.
Yeah, because Frank had done, before the Kennedy assassination, Frank's friend, Alexander Rourke.
Yeah.
You know, he was a patrician. He wasn't going to go along with it.
Yes.
So Frank sent him on some mission, and they had contaminated the fuel.
Yes.
And he disappeared and was never heard from again.
Yes. No.
So Frank has a whole history.
Yes.
Of killing
of plots and more plots. He's always inside plots. He has a long story. When he is always a very huge mission, a dangerous mission, a plot, they always call Frank, because Frank had the connections for everything, you know.
Right.
If you need a sniper, Frank know where to get him. If you need a guy to make a bomb, Frank know where to get him. Yes, Frank was the guy that I met in my life with more contacts all over the world, you know, and he could speak Spanish too, you know. That was very important, you know. So, and things happen exactly like that. No, there is nothing more. What Jose tells, it's a story. And the only person that knows this, it's real too, because later on she understands my movements, because during those years, my wife and my daughter and my son, they never imagined that I was working with the Americans. Do you know what they think that I was doing? My wife.
Veterinary medicine?
Yes, but when I travel a lot, do you think till some years ago what my wife think that I was an international drug dealer? You know,
I see.
Because money was coming like water. You know, I have credit cards, I have money. I bought a house there, I bought a house there, another place. So I have 5 houses now. I have one. Okay, the Angola house belonged to my parents. Okay, but I have a house in Marbella. I have a house in Holland. I have a house in Florianópolis, Brazil. I have a house here. You know, so this money not coming from the sky. You know, so my wife said, "Oh, you are doing something strange. You are involved," because many people went to my house, like Frank, like Gary Van Dyke and other guys, and she don't understand English, you know. And then for her, she was very strange. All they had people in my house. Dinner, we have dinner together. Then Gary Van Dyke came with his wife and the 2 sons for an holidays here. We joined all together. Then we went to England all together. So for my wife, my life only now, she knows really the truth. And then she completed the puzzle, said, "Oh, now I understand why this and this and this and that, why Jose appears there at night, when Sacarneiro dead, why was he in panic, why you went to Brazil and you help him, why this, why that." Now she understands. because I never told was because even the photos I have with Uta Gervec and German guys, and these photos I have in a safe place. Only in the last years I bring those photos to Portugal. I had a Samsonite, a big one, only with photo slides and things like that, with trips I did in Philippines, in Lebanon, in Nicaragua, in Puerto Rico, in France, there and there and there and there and there. Okay, and I did many trips for our pleasure with my wife, my daughter, my son. We went everywhere in July, August. It depends on holidays. But during the year, sometimes I was 2-3 months without seeing my wife and my son and my daughter. Every day I call, okay, 3 times a day, 4 times a day. But sometimes I was 2-3 months without seeing them. You know, and for my wife, that's what a big confusion. I come home and I get out for 1 month, then I get out for 2 months, then I stay 3 months, then I get out another 3 months, and during 16 years that life. You know, they had a partnership with my colleague in veterinary too. We had a clinic, you know, for assistance. But I went there once a month, twice a month. That was only a camouflage, you know. I just put money there to open the clinic.
Right.
Hey, and so it is like that.
The lawsuit that I filed against the CIA to get documents.
Yes, I know that. I have here what you send to Frederick. But you know better than me. CIA never says nothing about those things. They never say. Oh,
What they said was the exemptions they cited to circumvent this Freedom of Information Act
yes.
were the highest exemptions. National security.
Yeah, of course.
And then they said that
They say
violations of national sovereignty,
yes.
even if they occurred years later,
Yeah.
you know, years ago, not years later, but many years
Ago.
past,
Yes, I know.
would still have tremendous repercussions. They said release of the documents would disrupt economic and political relations.
It's always like that. It's always like that. It's always like
by
that.
saying that, that's why I'm here.
Yeah.
Because once they said that,
But I can accuse them. I accuse them here. I accuse them here.
Once they said that, you know, that the reasons that they gave, you know, this Mary Wilson wrote about 30 pages of reasons why the judge shouldn't release these documents.
Yes.
And those reasons pointed to the fact that the documents exist.
And
when the judge made his decision, he wrote that the CIA had documents that implicated. That means like someone is implicated in a crime.
Of course.
You know, that
I asked you, where is that bag with all the documents?
In something that would be very detrimental to America's national security, and that's why the documents weren't going to be released.
Yeah.
He didn't say the documents didn't exist.
Yes.
He said we
are worried about what the implications in other countries and so on.
So
but
then I knew it was true that.
Yes, and I'm here giving my face, and I've given my face, and they know my name, they know my code name, they know my number and code, and everything. I accuse them, and Carlucci too. Okay, he is very sick now. He has Parkinson. He has so many problems, but that's the truth, and the truth must come out mainly because the fucking CIA abandon always people that they don't care about it.
Plausible denial.
Plausible denial. When I did it, they make me make a plausible denial. Frank too, you know, always, because one day, like today, if I came and I said to somebody, it happens like that, they said, oh, this is a liar, because we have this, you know, it's always about, I'm accusing him. I'm telling you the story from that woman that they want to extradite, that was condemned of 5 years. Why they don't condemn the main guy from CIA that was conducting the operation? Why he is out? They were 27 guys with the American passports. They enter from Rome, from Milan. Where are those guys? Why only that woman that worked more than 15 years for CIA? Why? That's another example of what they did. In opposite, the old KGB, the FSB, they never did it. They never abandoned their men, you know. Right. Only if they betrayed them, like Litvinenko did. You know, so they come and they do the job, but the CIA don't care. They use you like the American policy is. They use everybody like Kissinger said. We don't have friends. We have interests. Kissinger sent me his last book, you know, the New Order, you know. I have the book at my house with his signature dedicated to me, and he tell that we hope we soon shortly forever. It's written there with his signature. Okay, and I send a copy to the Portuguese Parliament of that book. They oblige me to make a call from there to Frank Carlucci, and I call him from there, and I talk with him in front of those guys. For they realize that I was not telling a story. Okay, so what they want more? I am here, they have more 2 years, but now with that things they had, I told you probably I can get out the end of the year. But the thing is now, this prime minister, that was the old prime minister as was in jail, and probably go in jail again, that because the corruption, they discovered 23 million euros in his account, you know. This guy, I worked with him 1 year and a half, night and day. I knew everything about the life. I knew everything about these games, you know. So what they did, they made me another trap to put me more 6 years here, for I don't speak. But they are wrong, AJ, because they know me. And when I get out, so many guys are going to regret what they did to me. I can swear for my granddaughters, AJ. I will swear you for my granddaughters. It can be the last thing I'm gonna do. But those 8 or 10 guys that put me here, they have to pay, and they will pay because they know me and they have friends all over the world.
I know. I felt the same way when they locked me up.
I have friends all over the world.
When I got out,
and I have everything what I need.
I know. Well, you know, you feel this way.
In a warehouse, I have everything.
All you think about is revenge.
And I can tell you, I know how it is. I have claymores, I have lap mines, I have RPGs, I have Kalashs, I have Makarovs, Tokharevs, I have everything.
Firecrackers. No, I'm telling you. I know how it is. All you think about is
man. You can't imagine. You can't imagine how what my resilience, my resistance come from this ache that I have against the people. You know, because they used me during many years. You know, when they need me, they call me. And that guy, the Portuguese prime minister, he was another coke addict. You know, and he knows that, and I know so many things. So his girlfriend that time with contacts with the minister of justice, they prepared me that trap to put me 6 years here, you know. That you can imagine this or finish this story. I was living 1 year and a half with Margarita. We broke in the end of 2005, okay? So they accused me of 2 rapes. One at the 7th January 2006, the other one the 14th. 1 week of intermission. So I went to South Spain with that, to a hotel, and I went to a beach area called Figueira da Foz, where is the nice beaches. I was registered in the hotel, so they said that I rape her into different weekends. So if I rape her, I asked you, or a normal person, to the first weekend, why I would rape her? And why in the first week she didn't went to the police, said, this guy raped me, this guy threatened me, this guy put me a gun, or that, or this, or that. A second weekend, and then only the third weekend they came to my house.
They say you kidnapped her or something.
Yeah.
Tied her to a tree?
Yeah. No, not to a tree. That I put him inside the bush. That I point a gun to him and I said, I'm going to kill you, and so. It's completely crazy, this, you know. I lived with her 1 year and a half. No, this was mountain. Listen, I had, during my judgment, I had 10 witnesses that could go there and said, we saw this and that, she's crazy, she has a bipolar, she has a major depression, like that. So they didn't allow my witness. They said to my lawyer that the schedule for present them was finished. You know, the judgment was closed doors, you know, for nobody here, not the press, nothing.
You supplied her with drugs too.
Yeah, too, but that was not proof. I was not condemned for that. I was just condemned for 2 rapes, you know, in 2 different weekends. That's if I rape you in 1 weekend and you are free, what you supposed to do? Go to the police and tell, oh, this guy.
People don't want to report rapes.
No, but the second rape, the supposed second rape, then she went to the tribunal. He said, oh, he did me this, he did me that, he did me that. But after 3 months, I be in jail. She called to the jail there in Lisbon. The director called me to his cabinet, and she was crying. And I saw immediately that she was sleeping. She has been sniffing or something. I said, oh, look, I know that it's not true. I had a dinner with George Armindo and this guy, and everybody likes you. I'm going to the court, said this is not true.
She recanted the testimony, in other words.
Yeah.
Recanted.
Yeah.
Took it back.
Back, okay. So, but he said, "Oh, call me tomorrow because I'm going to visit you."
Didn't she die shortly after that?
No. She died in 2012. This happened in 2006. Then I get out 1 year and 8 months. And I stay 1 year and a half outside. If I want to run, if I feel that I was guilty, I have 3 passports. I have the Portuguese, the Brazilian, and Angolan passport, and I can get a diplomatic passport from Angola. You know, I went to Angola during this period when I was waiting for the appeal outside 4 times, and many ministers, generals, friends of mine, they said, okay, gave the Portuguese passport, let them and stay here. We get you a diplomatic passport. I said, no, my mother is 19 years old. I have my daughters, my granddaughters. I'm not going to do this because I am innocent. I said to them, and I wait 1 year and a half, and the appeal doesn't result. And then they gave me 6 years and 4 months, you know. But this is impossible to happen because I had the ticket restaurants. I was in hotel. Listen, in Spain, I stay at the Torquebrada Hotel. That is a hotel casino. I went to park my Mercedes. She stays alone at the reception. If something wrong happened, she could say, listen, call the police because I was obliged to come here. We went to a restaurant the other day. I went to show my house to her, and then she said, oh, you leave this house, this is so beautiful, you can see this. She said, listen, I am not a gypsy. This house was robbery twice. I asked to rent it. So I had another house in Brazil, I had another house in Holland. I can live now in Holland, Brazil, Angola, and so on. So I rented. So then we came back to Portugal. The other weekend, she called me, and I said, listen, I'll come to dinner with me. Yeah, I can't because I go to Porto to visit a friend of mine that is going to be to an operation of cancer prostate, and I go with you. I went with her to Porto. When I arrived to his house, the guy was already in a clinic, and the son said, my father is going to be operated to tomorrow, and said, okay, tell him that during the week I will come visit. We came back to Lisbon, was late, and I said, let's sit near Figueira. We went to a restaurant, we eat there. She drank a bottle of wine. Then I went to the biggest hotel here in Figueira. She stays at the car to check if they have a room, and I make this to her come, close the car. She came, we were awakened till 12 o'clock, we sleep till 8 o'clock, I have to pay an extra day, We came back to Lisbon, and I let it home, and nothing happened. I said, listen, you are not going to call me every weekend. Okay, now you told me that you are going to make a cure from drugs, from alcohol, and so on. When you are ready, you call me, we go dinner like friends, but I don't want this relationship, because this is a relationship that we discuss every day, because you get drunk, you get high, and I don't want this kind of life. And it happens exactly like that. That's the truth.
All right.
Jesus, man.
We gotta get going. I got a driver's out.
Yes, I know. You told me. Okay, I hope you believe me.
Listen, when you get out, forget about the revenge.
I don't know. Really.
You'll only end up back here again.
I don't know. I don't. Well, you know that I have many friends around the world.
But if anything happens to the people that testified against you,
it can many. Listen, AJ. I can tell you many accidents happened. I can be in Angola.
No, and here all you think about is, I'm going to kill him. I'm going to kill his wife right in front of him. I'm going to kill his.
No, I never said that. I never said that. Yes,
that's
I
how
know.
I felt.
Yeah.
My best friend, turned me in essentially.
Yeah.
Set me up. The guy I was buying marijuana from.
Yes. I know.
Arrested.
Jimmy told me that fucking story.
Right. So, but once I got out, I'm on the street. I don't want to get back in. It's 15 years ago. It's over.
But listen, AJ, I can go to Angola. They give me a diplomatic passport.
They don't have extradition treaty?
No, they don't have, because I am an Angola citizen. And accidents can happen. Or they justified me why they did it. Right. And I put a tape record, and they said, okay, tell the truth now for the tape record. Oh, this happened like that. Okay, it's enough. I don't want nothing more. Just the truth. And then I make an appeal to the European Court against Portugal. That's what I really want, because they have to pay me this.
All right. Okay.
Now, I was here because the ex-Prime Minister Socrates, they had the guy that was in jail for 1 year, that is another corrupt guy, that was dating with the main Portuguese journalist, Margarida Barante, that is already dead, that he died in 1912. And during 1 year and a half, I was living with her because I was already separated from my wife, but not divorced yet. We are still friends because we have a son and daughter and granddaughters. We have real statements, properties, and things like that. And when she come for a moment, she come to visit with my granddaughters and so on. I helped her a lot, with money. And she is living in my house in Holland. That later on my daughter went to study to Holland, stays there. Then he graduated here in public international relationships. She was working for Shell. Then she got out with a license for a long term. She is helping my son in in law because we have an enterprise in Angola from construction, you know, and she opened a restaurant in Amsterdam called the Good Chicken Society. So my wife is there for helping her with my granddaughters and so on. Then they bought another big house now where they are living, and I have my house in Spain rented. I have my house in Angola that is my son-in-law there, and in this the headquarters from the company. They have my other house in Brazil rented too, and they have a house in Portugal. So, and after so many years, when I was arrested in 1995, there was the 50th Commission of Inquiry. I don't remember quite well, and that they called me to go there, you know, for questioning me. And then I went there with my face cover and so on, and I didn't say nothing. I don't know nothing about this, I don't know nothing about this. So they called Jose Esteves, and he keep telling, that's a trap, I'm not involved in this, I don't have nothing, that was Fernando that talked about me, blah, 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 blah. Okay, after that I came back again 1 year, and they just opened the door a little bit. I gave some details, and then they confronted him with me that he was saying, I was not living in that house that you tell here. He was not living there. But so that's very easy. They go to see who paid the light, the gas, and so on, in which name was. So the guy was closed the mouth, and because he was collaborating with the Portuguese police. Because in 1986 he called me that they want to arrest him. I sent him the ticket to go to Brazil. He went to Brazil. I received him there. I got a house for him. I got a job for him. She was dating a Brazilian guy that later became a doctor. But I said, no, listen, Zé, you have to keep calm here. I helped him to buy a roulotte in Copacabana to sell the hot dogs, the coconuts and things like that. But after that, when I got out, I came back to Portugal. He met a guy there. He went to São Paulo. Then he went to Bahia. Fuck all. And then they discovered that he was there. And they call him, guys working for the Portuguese police, oh, you can come, you tell what you want, blah, 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 blah. He make an agreement. And he came, and they tell, no, I have nothing to do with this, was my family, and so on and so on. And they keep telling that, okay? So, recently, in 2006, he had a problem with the police because they went to his house, you know, that because he had a big problem with the cocaine, you know. He was a guy that sniffed a lot. You know, he has a problem in the hand because he was doing this with a camping gas bottle, you know, and the burn all the end, you know. So, and he was completely addicted to the alcohol and to the cocaine, okay? But his problem, I don't care about that. So, but they went to his house, they threatened him, the Portuguese police. They get the son and put him in a psychiatric hospital. He ran from there, and that day he contacted Frederick, that was working in a magazine called Focus, and he make a big interview with his photo in the front page saying, I did the bomb. Finally, he talked, you know. Right. So he tell a big story that I did the bomb with Fernando and this and that, and put the name of everybody. So they called me again to the commission, and then I almost opened the old door. Not the old door, but almost the old door. And then I tell the story from the beginning, blah, 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 this and this and this and that. That was my declarations here, right. Here.
What is the story?
The story, okay, I'm going to tell, but let me finish this part for you and understand the rest.
The background.
Okay, the background. So, what happened? And I went there and I tell the story. So he came to visit me with Frederico, and I had written this to give to Patricio Gouveia, you know, that guy from the court in English that the brother was killed in the plane. That was the secretary from the prime minister, Antonio Patricio Gouveia. Yes, yeah. Antonio Patricio Gouveia. Because there were seven people killed. The two pilots, the prime minister and his wife, the minister of the defense, Amaro da Costa, and his wife, and the guy that was the secretary from Sá Carneiro, that was Antonio Patricio Gouveia, that came from a rich family, and the brother is the CEO from the English court English, you know now.
Yeah.
You met him.
Yeah, he flew me over to testify.
Yes, he is this guy. So I wrote this for this guy, for the commission, you know, for the commission. And then Federico came here with Jose, and I gave this them, and I tell, after I go to the commission, you can put this in the internet. So, but they did the opposite. They put this first in the internet, and this was a bomb, you know, because Francisco Pinto Balsemão, the director from that big paper, the Express, sued me for saying that was defamation and things like that. But I win again. He lose because he was involved too. He knew that this was going to happen because he was the Portuguese with the settlement in the Bilderberg group. He always went there, and every year he invited two guys there to go there. Now it's Durão Barroso that is now in the Goldman Sachs. You know, it's another scandal. It's another scandal. This is a fucking country that only the poor people come to the prison. You know, the politicians, the bankers, they fuck all the country, millions and millions, and they have their houses, their cars. Nothing happened because they are all involved. You know, it doesn't matter if it's the Socialist Party, if it's the Social Democratic Party, the Christian Democratic Party. They all are in the same mess. You know, all of them. So then they call me to the commission, but they call me from one day to another, you know. And then I went there, and when this was open, the second, I said, I have nothing to declare, because if you want me here, you need to tell me at least with 1 week for I prepare, because I have many things to show you. I have photos, I have declarations, I have papers. I'm not coming just telling a story. You asking me and I tell what you want to hear. No, this is a story with head, members, and everything, with the beginning and the end. Oh, okay, so they said, okay, when you want to come? I want to come in 15 days. So I prepared with the curriculum from all the members of the parliament, who they were, they get all these informations. I sent back my papers, books talking about me, my connection with Stasi, the girl that put me there, the book that she dedicated me, the other books they talk about me.
That woman is still alive.
Yeah, still alive. He
working with the refugees.
Yes, he is Uta Gervek. She works.
I tried to call her, but she wouldn't answer.
Yeah, she worked that time for that organization that the church council, you know, she went to China, she went to Egypt, but that was a camouflage.
She's a communist.
Yeah, she is a camouflage. That was a camouflage. She working for the Stasi, you know. Because this organization was made by that time the Democratic German Republic.
So I used to be in touch with this guy Julius Mader.
Yes, I know them.
Who wrote Who's Who in the CIA.
Yes, I know that.
They sent me a list of the 500 CIA fronts.
Listen, I'm going to tell.
I was the first one to get it.
No, I'm going to tell you this, a simple thing. My code name in Stasi was Felix Baumgarten. My code name, okay?
Right.
I passed to the other side so many times with her, just showing a German passport. Nobody asked me nothing, not one side. That's it. I went to Potsdam Heights. I was inside there. They showed me everything. But at the same time, I noticed CIA about that, so I was doing a double paper, you know. When they were constructing the American embassy, the Russian embassy in the United States, that they did that tunnel, you know. I told the Frank Carlucci that they know a long time ago the tunnel exists, and they don't believe me. They said, no, where do you get this information? From the Stasi, they told me. So, and after 1 year, giving false informations, always they closed the tunnel, you know. This was another scandal. That was another scandal, a big scandal, you know. So, and Uta was with me. We were like a couple, you know. We slept together. We went together. She came to Portugal. She wanted me divorced from my wife to marry with me, and so on. And I have. And I'm going to tell you the funny thing. In 1994, I received it in Brazil, and I have photos that I sent to the parliament. I had a boat in Brazil, a yacht that can go to Argentina, to all the coast, you know, Brazilian coast and Suriname. And I received, do you know who in Brazil? I have the photos, Uta Gerveken and Marcos Wolf, Micha. You know, the director from Stasi, that during 30 years nobody has a photo from him, and I have this photo in my boat, you know, and I give to the Portuguese Parliament his photo there. So now let's begin with the real thing, the Camarate thing, okay? If you want, is that okay?
Okay, if you have anything else to say.
Now you know that's a kind of a background that I have to explain you for you build a real story.
Bona fides.
Yeah, bona fides. Yeah.
Right.
Okay. So just let me tell you one thing. Jose did a real dirty thing, because this guy, you don't know, but he has a mental problem, you know. He was to the Portuguese Air Force, and 1 year they expel him, you know. They write the paper that he was not a capable guy to be there, and so on. And Jose, that I help a lot with money, he was almost starving. He don't have money to pay the rent those days. I'm talking about 1977, 1978, 1979. He used to come to have dinner at my house, to the Sheraton, and so on. His job in Camarate, if you put in a scale to 1 to 100, is 3%, because we did one thing. We built one bomb here that Jose built, really, you know, but the real bomb came from England, you know. It was furnished by guys from the MI5 and the MI6, and was the wife from ancient colonel left that was living in London, Canty Castro, Juanita Valderrama, from Puerto Rico, that came to give me this. Then we mounted here, me and Frank. Frank came to the United States, because I was with Frank in Angola, because Frank had so many faces, you know. Frank was a guy that if you pay him, he works for you. If another guy pay him, he works for the other. But was a guy very clever.
He wouldn't work for the communists.
Never. He never worked. Well, you work with Castro and with Guevara, because those days the CIA was giving the guns to them, yes, when they were at Sierra Maestra. He told me the whole story, you know.
Right.
Frank was a guy very smart, very, okay, he has, you can say he have a dark past. I have a dark past too, and many killers and many people killed because us and things like that. But above all, Frank was a friend of a friend, you know. He never betrayed a friend, Frank. Frank, if you need him, you call him. He was in Philippines and will take a plane and you will come immediately, okay? So I was with him in Angola. I introduced him to Chipenda. I introduced him to Alden Roberto. And then later on...
Who introduced you to Frank?
Who introduced me to Frank was Gary Van Dyke, the South African Army. Yeah, the South African Army. Because Gary Van Dyke, those days, although he was working for the South African Secret Service, he was recruiting mercenaries too, and people like that, you know. He was in Rio de Janeiro. He has a book with that guy from the train robbery, Ronald Biggs, you know, he was there with photos and things like that. Then later on I talked with Ronald Biggs and he confirmed me the story there and so on. So Gary introduced me Frank in London. So later on, when they called me to prepare this operation, and I said, okay, but I need the guy to do this that you know very well, that worked for you too. Who? They said, Frank. Frank Sturgis? Yes, Frank Sturgis. Well, let us think, okay? And 24 hours later, they said, okay, we contact Frank. Frank will meet you in Lisbon the next week. So Frank came several times. We prepared the scenes, and I contract Zé, Carlos Miranda, this and that and that, for like a camouflage, you know, because the real bomb that exploded in the fucking plane was the bomb coming from England, because there were two similar planes, and we were not sure in which one the Prime Minister was going, because they keep saying here that the bomb was for the Minister of the Defense. Okay. Also, but mainly the bomb was for the Prime Minister. Why? Because Sacarneiro was against the American policy, always. He didn't want to involve with the Americans. The guy from the Americans is Mário Soares. But before, Kissinger don't like Mário Soares. And it was Frank Carlucci that convinced him that Mário Soares was the right man for the job. Yes. You know, they give thousands and thousands and $1,000 to Mário Soares once. Usually, I took him 3 times in the car, in the back seat, laying down there to the embassy to talk with Carlucci. Other times I get bags to deliver him with money cash, you know. So this and Sacarneiro was against this policy, that he has a big problem. He got out from the party, and 70 deputies got out. He had an accident. He went to London because he had an accident in his yes. So he came back and he was elected again as Secretary General from the Social Democratic Party. So then, when Mauro da Costa get the briefcase about the traffic dealing with the Iran, the Iraq, and the Nicaragua Contras, you know, he said he talked with Sacarneiro, and Sacarneiro was supposed to win the elections, you know, and they were to divulgate that. So the Americans panicked. You know, they said, come on, we can, because the most part of the guns that went to Iraq, to Iran, they pass here, you know, to the Portuguese ports, right. You know, even guns from Israel pass here, you can imagine, with written in Yiddish, you know, in Hebrew, you know, there with missiles, guns, Portuguese guns from Poland, RPGs, everything passed there. Oliver North came a lot of times. Yes, I went to Paris 3 or 4 times. I talked with Kessing. We have at the Jos 5, we have at the Fouché meetings, and then they said they want to do it during the electoral campaign. Okay, so I start preparing that, getting information from here, from there, Dasselberg, and this guy and another guy, Frank, came and said, but we had a problem. They have 2 planes, and they were doing the campaign, sometimes in one plane, sometimes in another plane. And we said, okay, we only have a solution. We have to put one in one plane and the other in the other plane. But one day before, we were right that the plane was dead. We get the information. So we contract a guy. I contract a guy that was a guy from Mozambique. That was an Indian guy from Goa. That was a long time ago. He was a pilot, Lee Rodriguez. You know.
Yeah. Where is he now?
He is supposed to be in France, but we are not sure.
In prison in France? Or?
Yes, but we are not sure he is still in prison, because first he was in prison in Brazil, then they sent him to France, and I'm not sure. If I was out, and when I am out, I'm going to find him. Yes. So what? Then I said, I joined all these people, and I said to Little Rodriguez, we get the pilot suit, you know, for him.
Right.
I had the guy to steal and I had the guy to steal a card from a TAP guy that working in the airport. We put the other photo from him for he entered at the airport. And then we have to say to Lee, go to the other plane and get the other bomb out, because the plane is that one. So the bomb that was in the other plane was not the Jose bomb, was the other bomb, you know, with a detonator with Mercurio, you know, Mercury, the detonator, because the inclination when he do it. Yes, because the bomb was not.
It's like a little glass.
Yes, a little.
Leads and
exactly, I like that, because the bomb was not to kill nobody there, was to despressurize the cabin, you know, the cockpit, and that's what really happened. Because when a plane, and I had a brevet from planes, the private planes, the small ones, and I know that when the most dangerous part is when you are going and when you are coming, you are landing and you are going.
Yes.
So when the plane was going, make that inclination at the maximum potence, so he detonated the bomb, make a wall near the wheels, you know, where you have the wheels, and that make a big wall, and that makes the plane going down. And when he going down, he crashed against those houses, but there was a first explosion, a small one, and from that hole fall the bag, fall the papers, and a lot of papers in the airport. That when they made the first investigation, the papers were all along there, you know, and the bag was kept from a guy from the Judiciary Police, Vitor Pereira, that gave it to a guy that was that time the chief of the counter-terrorism. And when they saw the bag, they gave the bag to the embassy, you know, because in the embassy they get all the papers and put it in a metallic bag to send to the United States. And then when I knew that, I could get in and I could consult that, but I couldn't enter with the camera because I had a mini camera, a Minolta, a Minax, but they don't let me know. So I get papers with the pencils and I take notes, quickly notes the most important thing names. And then I get out with this. Then Carlucci asked me, why do you want to consult? No, I want to consult because if something happen tomorrow, I have to defend it by myself, because there are many names there, many people involved there. Okay, but you take care with this shit, okay? Okay. So, And then Jose, okay, that happens, and I went before we gave the bag to Lee Rodriguez. Then he came. Jose went home, and I stayed there with Frank. But we don't have any command or nothing like that. We just was watching, you know, and then. When the explosion happens, we went away. Frank took a plane the other day. He was at the Hotel Phoenix here. He took a plane the other day to England, and then you went to the United States. And then I stay calm here. That night, Jose appears in my house with the woman he lives, Gina, at that time. He was in panic and said, "Hey, do you know that Sacarneiro was there?" "What? Sacarneiro? Don't tell me," because I made my role, you know. "Oh, don't talk. We are fucked now. You're fucked. Okay, you sleep here tonight. Let me talk, you know." Then I get my car and I get him. Let's talk with the major that that time make the relationship with. No, was fucking hell, you know. Major, so many names. I have it here. I talk with him many times, and Jose came with me too. Because the guy was involved too. Bernardo, no, it's fucking hell. Okay, man, fucking shit. And they have many developments here. Okay. Vitor Pereira, it's here. Vasco Montes, it's here. Yes. Yes, he gave the back to Pedro Amaral. That was in the first director that was doing the first investigation. And when he said them that was an assassination, they threw them away. They sent him to Macau, you know, and put Len Castro Bernardo. Bernardo, Len Castro Bernardo. So we went and Jose said, "Oh, you know, that Sacarneiro was there." And Len Castro Bernardo said, "Keep calm, nothing going to happen. Okay, do what Fernando tells you and keep calm." But he was nervous, you know, he was nervous. Then he came to my house and he stayed 1 week there. And every night I went to his house to surround the house and nothing. And I said, "You can go home, it is nothing." Then they came to the paper saying that was an accident and so on and so on and so on. And only later on they began to say this was not an accident, this was an assassination, this was an attempt like against the Prime Minister. And when I told the whole truth, I told the whole story, many Portuguese papers and a famous politician called Pacheco Perez that write every Thursday on the magazine Sábado made headlines about me and said, "The guy that tells these stories couldn't invent it because there is so many details that only somebody inside it could know."
Right.
This is not Bob. So I went for the last time to the commission. I told them there was a motherfucking guy, a deputy, a guy with 44 years old, that the first time I went there and I didn't answer, he get this and he said, "Well, you know, I'm reading it, and you declare here that you was the guy that killed the Prime Minister, and I feel very emotional because I still remember that." And you said that you killed the prime minister, but you don't know how many more killers people did you did along your life that working for the CIA. And I tell you, AJ, if I was not in jail, if I was outside and I would went there for my legs, when the guy told me that, I would jump it and I would send, was the end of the world there. Then I look at him because I was sitting here and the guy was sitting next to me, and the president from the commission was here, and I said, look, my boy, I call him like that, look, my boy, I don't know who you are, or I know who you are. You are 44 years old. The death of Sacaneiro was almost 40 years. You have 4 or 5 years. How could you be emotional that time? And mainly, you call me terrorist, killer, and so on. I must say that terrorists and that are killing the Portuguese people by starving is the government that you make part now. That was the anterior government, So the president said, okay, finish. And then I came back again, prepared with everything to tell the whole entire story. So, about Joseph, or finishing, the Portuguese police, and that's in the Federico book, wrote a paper to him and sent him to Badajoz, Spain, telling that he could come, that nothing happened to him. Okay? So later on, he became a Muslim, for going to the Mesquita here, working for the police as an inside informator,
When the Muslims?
Yes, the Muslim. He has an Arab name, Abu Salim.
He was eating pork the other night, I'll tell you.
Yes, so the guy was a paranoid, he liked that everybody talk about him, he want protagonism, just that, So when they discovered there that he was working for the Portuguese police, they almost kill him. He has to run away for